I realise now why I'm sweating this aspect of it in terms of this binary of guilt and innocence, or even a spectrum between innocence and guilt, why it has to be completely removed off the table. As soon as you assert anything about innocence, you've got the presence of its opposite or its binary, guilt, over there. It's entered the room somewhere. But in this instance, where there are no crimes, the concept of innocence and guilt, innocence or guilt, of non-existent events is meaningless, isn't it? Have I got this wrong? It's just puzzling me. I think it's because the concern is when you get this kind of this specious reasoning, well, Lucy Letby should be freed because there wasn't enough compelling evidence, but it leaves it open. It leaves it open for the idea that you can never actually clear your name fully. You can never actually fully be believed because, well, maybe she did do it, even if she's exonerated. In other words, they didn't get it over the line in the way that they should have done. It leaves it open in people's minds that the name of the person isn't. I mean, in people with some intelligence, of course they'll understand. She's innocent per se. She's innocent per se. In other words, she's not a murderer, not someone who's attempted murder, not someone who's harmed any baby at all. So yes, she's innocent. But specifically to do with those made up events, made up, fabricated crimes, as soon as you start saying, well, I'm innocent of a fabricated crime, it's a kind of nonsense to that. It's a tautology, isn't it? I think that's the word. It doesn't make sense. You can't be innocent of something that doesn't exist. And you can't be guilty of it either. It's neither. And in a way, it's that level of dismissal you need of what's happened. Yes, obviously, you could say, well, you then obviously infer the person's innocent of any wrongdoing. But vis-a-vis those fabricated events, as soon as you start to say, well, you start to invite, with people with very specious thinking, to say things, well, yeah, well, how innocent is she? How innocent? Were you 100% sure we were innocent now? And then you're in the realm of proving innocence, which is a nonsense anyway. So you've got to get innocence and guilt right off it in a sort of way. You've got to... I don't know if I'm going mad with this, but I think there's something here about it, because the title of the short thing I just did was, if a plate in my house, which is imaginary, doesn't exist, and it smashes on the floor, and I'm gonna go, well, some other people have been visiting me, and I'm gonna go, well, who's guilty of smashing that imaginary plate? And they go, what? Well, who's innocent of it? Let's start there then. And then I've got some suspicions, and I think, well, I think he's guilty of it. But then he kind of says, well, no, I was in another room. And I say, well, can I prove that? Okay, you can get away. I can get away with thinking that he wasn't the one who did it. But can I ever really, really say that he was innocent of smashing the imaginary plate? See how mad it all is? See how mad it is? But it's just, this is what really bothers me in some very disturbing way about the idea of you're then in the realms of talking about levels of innocence or not innocent enough, or well, that came up. That came up in and I'm sorry, I forgot the gentleman's name, in the speeches that were done in that International Day of the Falsely Accused, wasn't it? On oh God, I can't think of the name of the channel now. You know, the one with Anna in it. Anyway, you know, and it was a guy from Wales, and he says, well, he wasn't given this compensation because, do you know what? And they told him this. This is why I'm talking about it. This is why I'm talking about this stuff. It's because they said he wasn't innocent enough. Spoken Injustice channel. And he was there in London with a microphone on that day when they're outside the courts, and he was saying, and he was nearly at the verge of tears. I think his mother was with him or a relative. He's on the verge of tears, and she was trying to hold him together. And he was saying, really felt for him, and he was saying, well, I wouldn't get compensation because they said you're not innocent enough. That's the gist of what they've told him. So you see, there's these gradations. When something didn't happen, you've got this, I could call it Kafkaesque or some Alice in Wonderland world with the Red Queen just making stuff up as they go along the rules. You could end up in a situation where, well, yeah, you were found guilty, then you're exonerated, but at some level, you'll never be innocent enough because someone out there saying, well, we can't prove your innocence. Even though, heaven forbid, heaven forfend, that the crimes didn't exist. And you're trapped in this world of how can I ever fully clear my name of the suspicion that I committed crimes that never existed? It's driving me crazy, but it's just something set me off about that fool's writing. The powerful thing, the powerful arguments, yeah. Oh man, this is a fucked up world. What you have to do is make it super explicit, and that is the way it will have to be, and that's why they're resisting it, you see. It's not that they've got the wrong person for the crimes, it's that there never were any crimes, and there's tens of millions of pounds they've spent on it. That's why they're resisting, and that's why they're telling the CCRC to hold off at the moment, while they're panicking and thinking, how the hell can we get out of this? With the Birmingham 6, terrible miscarriage of justice. But there were bombs. Now, who planted those bombs? I don't know. There's all kinds of theories about that, and that's another rabbit hole. But there were bombs, and there were obviously injured people through intended harm. There was obviously intended harm there. It's a bomb, isn't it, in a pub? So there's obviously intended harm there. Who did it? We're never going to be sure. But those people those people are innocent of it, who were falsely accused of it, obviously. They're innocent of it. But with this situation, we're in a situation now where it's been shown, even beyond the whole idea that they never had any justification for bringing it to an investigation to begin with at all, but you had to rely on a psychopath called Evans to make stuff up, make out of his head, pull it all out of his arse, really. And the shit system, this absolute nutter of a system called the justice system, it's in the toilet, isn't it? It's in the sewer. What it is, really. It's the absolutely abysmal system, happy to suck it all up from that psychopath and condemn someone. They're all happy enough to do it, and they know how bad they are. That system knows how bad it is, and that's why that's the biggest stumbling block, way more even than with the Birmingham 6, I think. Because there they had to acknowledge they got the wrong people, and the police did it through torture, essentially, torturing confessions out of people and lying, corrupt police. Quelle surprise that they did that, the police. But here, the whole system has got to acknowledge that there was never any need for a police investigation. There was never any need for a court case, ever. Anyway, I better stop. I've got to stop thinking about it.